Pace has dropped on Thursday Thoughts here on SDH. John here, you there. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's a full show for a bunch of different reasons. We've got a lot of stuff to get into from last night and this morning. Libertadores, Sudamericana. I would anticipate an updated and a new Copa Libertadores show from our friend Howard Hamilton over at Soccer Metrics later today, and he will update you on everything that went down last night. Gallardo is now once again being questioned about his tactics and his lineup and all the things because they ain't around no more. We'll get into that with our buddy Nino Torres coming up at 10 o'clock, so we've got all the stuff overseas to get into with Nino. I know he's fully loaded. I haven't seen the list, but I know that there's going to be a lot to talk about Libertadores, Sudamericana, and the rest of the planet. We got to get into Portugal and everything that is going on in the European theater and whatever else is on Nino's mind. Now, also in the last half hour of the show, it is our buddy Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports. We'll get into everything Major League Soccer. Some guy named Messi had a pretty decent night last night going up against NYC at Citi Field, and we'll get into what happened last night. We'll get into the weekend. There's some issues contract-wise and other things. Is there a keeper controversy in Seattle between Andrew Thomas and Stephen Fry? We'll get into that. That's hour number 2. Hour number 1, working backwards, bottom of the hour in about 20 minutes. The USASA is having their Hall of Fame inductions this week in Chicago. And it is once again, the U.S. Adult Soccer Association, for those of you that may not know the USASA. And it was established in 2006. And this is their wording. And the Hall of Fame was established in 2006 to honor individuals significantly, it's been a late night, significantly contributed to the growth of adult amateur soccer in the U.S. Individuals inducted into the Hall of Fame, administrators, players, coaches, and refs who provided distinguished service to the USASA, contributed toward the development and advancement of adult amateur soccer at the national or regional level. 3 inductees this year. We catch up with one of them at the bottom of the hour, and he has been a part of the fabric of the South Carolina scene for quite some time. We're going to be catching up with Andy Marion. We're also going to be catching up later today with Karen Beyer, who some of you may know from the Georgia side of things. We will have Karen's interview for you tomorrow. Karen co-founded Cobb County Soccer Council in '86, created part of the creation of the Greater Atlanta Co-ed Soccer League, Greater Atlanta Women's Soccer Association, St. Nicholas Charity Tournament, starting back since 2010, USASA National Secretary. So Karen Beyer is one of the 3. Carlos Foligno, one of the cornerstones in soccer officiating here in the U.S. since 1985, is one of the 3. The third is Andy Marion, and he's going to be joining us once again, bottom of the hour. We'll talk to him about his induction, what it's meant to see South Carolina soccer grow, and what the week is like in Chicago. So that's coming up at the bottom of the hour. Opening kickoff and kind of getting you into the day, we got to talk about what happened last night on the network and also what didn't happen last night on the network. And we were that close around 9 o'clock. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. That's your QR code. For those of you who are hanging out with us this morning on the video side of things, you hit that QR code, start your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And then you buy out the store because we want you to. Use the code Soccer Down Here 15, though. When you check out, you get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, Kickoff Coffee, and donate 10% to causes that they have earmarked as cool. Once again, it's our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So last night, Atlanta United 2, MLS Next Pro, 3 matches to go in the regular season. So Atlanta United 2 had some work to do. Technically, they still have some work to do. First 45 minutes against Chattanooga FC. Chippy starts and stops. A lot of yellow cards. Here's your highlights from what happened in the first half last night as we continue to tell the story of the twos, once again, courtesy of us. Maddie and Jason on the call.
He'll carry it forward. Long run. Pita cuts it to the left foot. Big switch. Great ball from Santi to Dom Chonqui. His cross. Carmichael gets a touch, and Garvagnon lucky to find it. I don't think he saw it coming, and he makes the save with his thigh.
I don't think Garvagnon knew where that ball was. He was just in the right place, right time to stop that one as Jakupovic just dives to the ground to stop it. That run coming in, that ball from Santi Pita is incredible. Go over to the side, finds Dominic, and then just trying to send it in. Whew.
Turnover. Tried to play it to Pete. That's intercepted. Cohen. Watson. Wide to the left side. Cut back to the right. Chattanooga with the shot off the underside of the bar and in. Chattanooga FC, Daniel Mangarov puts it home. It's been quiet so far in the early going, but in the 12th minute, Chattanooga get on the board first. Carmichael will throw it in, edge of the 18. Wiese with a great flick to Cibrian. Forward to Weah. Weah turns to the right foot. Weah off the post. Goal kick off the outside of the post and out. Garvagnon wasn't going to keep that one out if it was a foot the other side. I don't know what all that was about. Two-man wall. We say we'll send it. Chattanooga stepped in front of the mark that was drawn, but, you know. We say could go to the near post. He's going to square it. Pita with the left foot. Chips it in, headed down. Saved by Jakupovic. Carmichael, he'll carry it forward on the right for Atlanta. We say well out to the right flank. He's on it. Sends it through Garvagnon's legs to Carmichael. His cross headed away by Sarsar. Carmichael back into Weah. Weah drops it back to Wiese. Low shot saved by Jakupovic right at him. He dramatically falls over it. Some tricks he's learned in his 20-plus year pro career. Carmichael will take the corner on the far side. Played to the near post. Headed away. Cooper Sanchez with the volley wide. That's two that Cooper has had from that same spot. He's getting closer each time.
That was the first 45 minutes. So Chattanooga FC had a 1-0 lead. We go to the intermission. It was kind of gray and nasty and dark skiesy kind of going into the fraction last night. When we get into the late 60s, minutes-wise, you're pushing about 9 o'clock. And the skies open up, and it's heading our way. Lightning is seen in the distance inside the 7-mile radius, and so everybody's out the door. You know, players heading back to the locker rooms, fans asked to take cover and head back to their cars and what have you. The field in and of itself, and those of you that might have had the opportunity to catch up with us on social media last night, we gave you pictures and video of how it was evolving. And with the rain being as heavy as it was looking pretty bad. The field itself was looking fairly waterlogged, especially on the near side closest to the press box. And that's where the crown drifts off into the drainage system at Fifth Third Stadium. So it's raining. It is just not happening. And balls, when they are kicked by officials, are basically stopping in puddles. This was not going to go down. Then the rain quit. And this is in the 11 o'clock hour. Rain stops in the 11 o'clock hour. And you end up with a field that was becoming more and more playable. And full credit to Kennesaw State for what they had installed with for the drainage system with the new surface and the new grass and all of that. So we're thinking, because the match was stopped at 69:30, you have to get to 75 minutes for it to be considered an official match. So you're technically 5.5 minutes short of the match being official. And I know that Atlanta United would have wanted to play the entire 20 minutes and not just get to 75:30 and then 75 minutes and then go inside and have to wait and then have it called because of the importance of the match. And I'm fairly certain that MLS Next Pro and the folks in their front office are like, yeah, we want to play the whole thing too. So we get to about 11:30, 11:45. Field's becoming more and more playable. The center ref is out there doing tricks on the field. Atlanta United 2 players who are in their street clothes are now out on the pitch, and they're kind of seeing how the surface is and everything. Then as we get closer and closer to midnight, the skies opened up again. And so then we knew that this was not going to go down last night / this morning. So right now, as we know it, the match with Atlanta United 2 and Chattanooga FC has been suspended. Frozen in time in the 70th minute. Clock stops at 69:30. And it had been reset to that point. So about midnight, that was when we left. And then you have the Atlanta United personnel and everybody at Kennesaw State and the players and both teams. And I imagine that Chattanooga FC turned around and went home. So CFC players probably didn't get into their own beds until 3, maybe. And shout out to our friends Hayes Creech in media relations and Gabe Schreier, the play-by-play voice for CFC, for not getting home until 3 o'clock probably. Right now, match is frozen in time. We don't have an official announcement yet as to when that final 20-plus minutes will be picked up, because it has to be played. You can't just go 5.5 minutes, skies open up, and then everybody goes, yeah, break. You can't do that. Right now, the way things stand, Atlanta United's chasing after an equalizer, so they're going to want the match to be played in its entirety, the final 20 minutes plus stoppage. Chattanooga FC, you know that they were wanting to get back out there on the field last night at the Fraction, play that extra 5 minutes, and if the skies opened up, they opened up. So Chattanooga is also suspended in time. Live table as it stands right now, in a match that is suspended, basically you're back to zero. You're back to zero because we were doing projections and everything and had the match continued and all that kind of stuff. So standings going into last night did not move. It was the only match in MLS Next Pro. Here's what it means. Chattanooga, since the match was not completed, goes back into 6th place. They were in 4th in the live table when the match was going on. Chattanooga suspended in time at 25 matches, 45 points. They are the 4, the 5, or the 6. You have 3 groups right now in the Eastern Conference. You have Red Bulls, Union, Revolution. Each have played 26 matches, 2 to go. So they're within 4 points of each other. That's the 1, the 2, and the 3 right now. 55, 52, 51. That's 1, 2, and 3. The race for the 4, Huntsville City Football Club, Chicago Fire 2, identical records, 8, 6, and 4. Huntsville has a better goal difference. 4 goals are the difference right now between 4th and 5th. Identical records, Hunt City and Chicago Fire. Chattanooga, because of last night's match being suspended, is at 45 points. 2 matches plus 20 minutes to go. And they're in 6th. They can finish no worse than 6th because Toronto FC 2 and Carolina Core are at 38 points, 7 points back with 2 matches to go. So you know the top 6, you just don't know the where. And you know that Chris Nugent and everybody at Chattanooga FC is kicking themselves if they're awake yet, because right now they've got 20 minutes plus stoppage time of a match to go. Figure out where they are between the 4, among the 4, the 5, and the 6 in the Eastern Conference once again, because this has to be played. TFC and Carolina Core are at 38 points. Both played 26 matches. That's the playoff bar right now. Core, 38 points, 8 wins. That's your playoff bar. NYCFC, who plays Chattanooga FC this weekend on the road at Icon Stadium, have to keep an eye on that match on Sunday after Atlanta United 2 and their match at Bridgeview. They right now have the same number of wins as Orlando City B, 9 and 10. But they are 8 goals to the better in goal difference. First tiebreaker after wins. So NYCFC, 35 points, 9 wins, -6 in goal difference. OCB, 35 points, 26 matches, 9 wins, -14 in goal difference. Atlanta United 2, 34 points. Like I said, this is why this match had to be played to its entirety, and they were going to wait it out. Atlanta United 2, frozen in time, 34 points, 20 minutes to play, plus stoppage, plus the 2 matches this weekend, the 2 matches left this weekend in Bridgeview against Chicago Fire 2, and decision day against Chattanooga FC. FC Cincinnati 2 is playing Columbus Crew 2 tonight, I believe, in Heck is Plausible, the MLS Next Pro version of Hell is Real. FC Cincinnati 2, technically still alive, 6 points back then that match in hand for them is the difference. If they win tonight, if FC Cincinnati 2 wins in regulation tonight, Atlanta United 2 would be down to 12th, frozen in time. FC Cincinnati 2 would have 7 wins. They would be 11th at 35 points. And they would be behind in all the tiebreakers. Basically, FC Cincinnati 2 needs to win out and get some help. But that's where we are right now, frozen in time in MLS Next Pro. Oh, Elaine Winters. No. First time in a while that we've had a bot. So let me take care of the bot here. Blocking the bot, and report. So you're a bot. You're being reported. Next, page 2. Bot being reported, page 2. Viewer solicitation. Spell solicitation, John. Bot. 23 characters. Submit report. Bang. Okay. Report submitted on Elaine Winters. Cheap followers on something. Yeah, Dell, I have no earthly idea what it's all about. So that is MLS Next Pro in a nutshell. The chaos of the rain last night, literally, we were the thunderstorm warning. You know, like when you're looking at radar and you've got the box up, you know, in the old days of weather and watching your local news, where they have the box that had the zone that was the warning. We were the warning. Literally, it was on top of us. And it rained like you know what. Like I said, go back and look at our social media last night and you can see what it was doing when it was raining. So, frozen in time, that's where we are. We don't have a makeup date yet announced for Atlanta United 2 to complete this match. The only thing we can figure in doing the math is that it would have to be next Wednesday, probably behind closed doors. There is nothing going on, and we went and looked at the Kennesaw State schedule. There's nothing going on that field from an official capacity, no sporting event, next Wednesday or Thursday. So this is what next week could look like for Atlanta United 2 and for Chattanooga FC. Sunday, both teams on the road. Chattanooga is in New York City taking on NYCFC 2. If you are an Atlanta United 2 fan, you're rooting for Chattanooga FC. You want them to win in regulation. That way it holds NYCFC down. Atlanta United 2's in Bridgeview on Sunday playing Chicago Fire 2. We'll have that matchup for you. Pre-game show kicking off half hour before everything. I want to say 1:30 Eastern time. Hang on. MLS Next Pro. Hang on. So schedule. Let me get the time right because it's going to be chaos for the remainder of this week. 2 o'clock kick, 2:03 kick at SeatGeek Eastern time. 1:30 pregame Sunday afternoon. Jason will have the call for you at 2 o'clock. So Chattanooga, 7:30. So Atlanta United 2 will have completed their result in Bridgeview and will probably be in the airport heading home as Chattanooga is at Icon taking on NYCFC. So Sunday, Atlanta United 2 plays at Bridgeview, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Match will be over. Chattanooga FC plays NYCFC 2 at 7:30. That's on MLS Season Pass. So you're rooting for Chattanooga FC to win that matchup at Icon Stadium. Keeps NYCFC 2 below the playoff bar, gets them closer to the 4 seed and all that kind of stuff. They win that one in regulation, it's 48 points. And then you got to keep an eye on Huntsville and Chicago Fire. Huntsville on the same night is hosting Messi and Friends 2 at Wicks Family Field, Joe Davis Stadium. So you're thinking that Huntsville, if you are a Chattanooga fan, you're rooting for Messi and Friends. Everybody else, you're trying to sit there and gum up the works. If you're a fan of the Fire, if you're a fan of Huntsville City, or if you're a Fire Chattanooga, you're a fan of Chattanooga, you're looking at Inter Miami CF2 to pull an upset. Next to last in the table in the Eastern Conference. But Atlanta United 2 will be watching the scoreboard, heading back home from Chicago on Sunday to Atlanta. The only thing we can figure is that the final 20 minutes of this match is probably going to be behind closed doors, middle of the week at Kennesaw. You got to get a result there after what happened on Sunday, and then you've got decision day, where Atlanta United 2 is at Chattanooga FC at Fort Finley. And obviously, we'll have that call for you as well. I will be up there for that match on Decision Day. All the Eastern Conference stuff kicks off at 1 o'clock Sunday, October 5th. Fire's at Crew, Cora's at Huntsville, Atlanta's at Chattanooga, Orlando City B hosting FC Cincinnati 2. All of that's at 1 o'clock on Sunday, October 5th. So that's where we are. We are in suspended animation for the next 20-plus minutes of match 26. You're flying to Bridgeview if you're the Twos. You're flying to New York if you're Chattanooga FC. And your last 110 minutes of soccer on a clock will be in a 4-day period probably next week. So if you thought it was chaos getting into it last night when it came to the playoff picture in MLS Next Pro, business just picked up. That's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Here is the QR code. Thank you, Abby, right there. QR code for those of you that start your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Right there. Buy out the store. Use the code SoccerDownHere15 so when you're leaving the store, you don't go completely and totally empty-walleted. Then our friends at Kickoff Coffee, in turn, take 10% reinvested into things that they have earmarked as cool. Once again, thanks to our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Yikes. It was one of the ugliest scenes in the grass. I mean, it looked like a swimming pool. Literally, it did. But kudos to Kennesaw State for the drainage and everything, the drainage system that they have in place with the new turf, grass. And, once again, kudos to them for the whole thing. But that is where you are right now with MLS Next Pro in the Eastern Conference. Morning Dell, morning Pars. Yes, bam, happy Grand Final Eve. Public holiday. We might be watching, and we don't know if we'll be awake for it, but we'll be keeping an eye on it. Yeah. Abby, Abby, it was bad. Absolutely bad. But yeah, no clue. And the ref was how do we say this? All over the place. He was inconsistent. But the other aspect of this that you have to keep an eye out for when they pick up match 26 for Atlanta United 2 and Chattanooga FC. Chattanooga FC has 4 players on yellow cards. Jose Silva pulled Cooper Sanchez after 45 because Cooper was on a yellow, and God knows what was going to be happening in this match. In this particular match itself, looking at the stats, and this was something that really stood out, you had 15 fouls called, I believe, in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. 22 fouls. It was upgraded. 22 fouls called in the first half. 1 yellow on 10 fouls for Atlanta United 2 to Cooper Sanchez. 4 yellows on 12 fouls, and they were warranted, don't get me wrong, but the other 17 fouls were probably all over the place for the most part. So you had 22 fouls called in the first half, 5 yellow cards. 5 yellows in the first half. And that was chaos personified. So Cooper Sanchez on a yellow, Garvagnon on a yellow, Mangarov on a yellow, Tate Robertson on a yellow, Keegan Anselin, who had come in for the sum total of 10 minutes, on a yellow. So that's the other element in this to keep an eye on, is all of those yellow cards that Chattanooga FC is on, and they are out of sub windows. They're out of subs, and so they're done. This team that they have out there for the final 20-plus minutes, that's who they've got. That's it. You're playing with that 20, and there were a lot of dudes that were really hurting. And all the starts and the stops and the starts and the stops and everything. Your subplots were completely and totally all over the place, and they will be for the next little while. So keep an eye on the game, and we will keep an eye on the win when it comes to the restart. If we get any kind of official announcement kind of a deal, we'll let you know. You guys are faster on the draw than I am. You'll probably let me know before anything else. And it was a good crowd out there last night, Abby. It was. Dell with a USL Championship update. Battery qualified for the playoffs. Yeah, it's you and Louisville, 1 and 2 in the East. Everybody, I mean, that's like a fait accompli. Sunrise is in the East. You pay taxes in April, and it's Louisville and Charleston at the top of the Eastern Conference. Probably the two playing the 7 on Sunday at Patriots Point. 6 points behind Louisville, 5 games to go. Last 3 are at home for Dell. So it's going to be chaos in the USL Championship. We'll catch up with Kaylor Hodges at some point next week to get the lowdown on what's going on there. And we'll kind of get the latest as we're in the sprint, getting ready for everything when it comes to Major League Soccer and all the things that are attached to a USL Championship and all the things that are attached there. USL League One schedule's winding down. USL Championship's winding down. We'll catch up with Kaylor at some point next week, probably on tape because of the new gig at the new gig that he's got to be actually, like in class and stuff, teaching people. So we'll have that coming up in a bit. That'll be next week involving Kaylor Hodges and our look at the USL show and the USL folks. And yeah, Abby, it was a great crowd out there last night. It was a vocal crowd. Cheers to all of the Chattanooga folks that came down for the run. It was really cool to see all of you. Knew you were going to be loud, and it was a fun environment. Short of the monsoon that happened, short of the monsoon itself that happened, and paused for 3 hours. What was going on at the Fraction? So that's where we are. So that's opening kickoff. The chaos in MLS Next Pro is opening kickoff, and understandably so, considering it is chaos and everything leading to decision day. But of course, the last 20 minutes plus stoppage with this particular matchup, that's the fun part that we get to follow along with. And the computers and the stat line at MLS Next Pro has the match in the 72nd minute. That's off. It was halfway through the 70th. Clock was frozen at 69:30. So anything that you see printed is off a couple of minutes because you're going running clock, and then when the whistle happens, that's when you would set it. But the clock goes back to 69:30. That's what froze inside of fifth third last night. So 69:30, that's where the match picks up. And my guess is, and as like I said, we were trying to sit there and extrapolate when it could be, and it is middle of next week. Literally, you're flying from one place to the next, and you are trying to determine what your life's going to be like heading to decision day. Right now, you're locked into all of your travel plans trying to get out of town for Sunday, both teams. So that gets you to Monday. Monday, nothing. You're recovering and you're just back. So it's probably Wednesday or Thursday where you figure out when this 20 minutes, 30 seconds plus stoppage gets played. So that's where we are. Man. Yeah, it was crazy yesterday. And, of course it makes sense that it would be crazy as you're getting toward the last home date of the regular season that you would have something like that happen with Atlanta United too. As crazy as the season has been, why not? Why the hell not? And so you had what you had yesterday, and it's a blast. And by the way, before we go to other topics, quick shout out to everybody with Atlanta United and the Twos organization, Chloe Spradlin, all the media relations folks that we've seen this season, Johannes and the dearly departed Chris Ramondi, who's now working with Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Justin Veldhouse, Chris Winkler, all the folks. Everybody that's associated with game day operations and everything to make it sing up there at the Fraction every single time out. Can't thank you guys enough for putting up with us as we are up there calling matches and getting sound and doing all the content for the Twos. And so we've got another 10 days of the regular season. We figure out what the heck's going on from there. So obviously that's where we are. Last night, Major League Soccer. I don't know if you've heard this, but there's this dude named Messi, and he's okay. It was a big win, no shock, as once again you're looking at matches in hand that are being made up for Messi and friends. Messi and friends got the Duke. They clinched the playoff spot last night. Messi on the brace And so you end up with yet another milestone for Messi. 2 goals and an assist, 4-0 win at Citi Field. 37 goal contributions in 2025, 24 plus 13. First player in MLS history to record 35 goal contributions in back-to-back seasons. Tied with Joseph and Zlatan for third all-time in single-season goal contributions, trails Carlos Vela with 5 matches left. Vela had 49 in a season. Messi's got 35. And don't think that that's not on his list either for a double negative. 5 goals, 3 assists in his last 3 matches. Chases after yet another MVP award. Sole ownership of the Golden Boot, 24. Now has more than Denny Bouanga with 22 and Sam Surridge with 21. League-leading 8th multi-goal game this season ties him for the most during a season in league history. And right now, Messi and friends are 3rd in the standings. Once again, all these matches in hand coming back. And for Javier Mascherano, it's an opportunity to navigate your roster, figure out what it's going to look like, how you starting folks in a 6-match September. Bam, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. He says Bouanga will get 3 more hat tricks this season. That's why I've got Bouanga and Messi right now as the beginning of my fantasy team. Right now, they're the 2. I have Messi captain this week. So I'm off to a good start. But Miami goes to Toronto, 4:30 Saturday afternoon. They're the early game to get in the barn. I will be intrigued to see what the lineup looks like, how rotated it is. Considering that yesterday, and then you also had a rotated Vancouver side to a degree, get a 1-1 draw with Portland. White with a goal late. The lineup yesterday for Messi and friends. Here's what it was yesterday. Once again, no word yet. It has been announced, or it has been reported, that Sergi Busquets is done after this season, which would make sense because then you slide Rodrigo de Paul into that DP slot. That makes sense. Lineup last night, Ustari, left to right back 4, Jordi Alba, Maxi Falcone, Noah Allen, Ian Frey. Then your midfield, it was Baltazar Rodriguez, Sergi Busquets, Rodrigo de Paul, and one of the new acquisitions, Matteo Silvetti. Once again, rotated a bit. And then Messi and Suarez up top. Technically listed as a 4-4-1-1, and then the whistle blows and everything goes sideways. Your bench last night, Fafa Pico, Ryan Saylor. You had Tomas Aviles, Yannick Bright, Santi Morales, Chelo Wegant, Tadeo Allende, and Gonzalo Lujan. So as they go to Toronto, and my guess is they're staying up there. They're just going to go hang out, and then they're going to fly into Toronto because flying back to Fort Lauderdale and then flying up to Toronto is somewhat counterintuitive. So my guess is they're staying up there, rest and recovery in New York today, fly into Toronto tomorrow, and then you're there for the matchup. You're there for the matchup on Saturday, and then once again, once you're done, you turn around, you fly home. That's what you're staring at with Messi and friends, and the standings. Just so you know, the standings as they are. And bam, I wouldn't surprise me a bit. Son passing to Bouanga to help him try and get the Golden Boot. I could see that absolutely. Eastern Conference, by the way. Philly at 60, Cincinnati at 58, Messi and friends at 55. Messi and friends have 2 matches in hand. If they keep the beat, they win the matches in hand, they would be a point above Philadelphia, and they would be the top seed in the playoffs. How'd that work for you last year? Cincinnati 58, Messi and friends at 55, Charlotte at 53, NYC at 53. Charlotte has 1 more win, and they have a superior goal difference. They're also 5-10-1 on the road. Those 5 are in. That we know. Eastern Conference, that we know. Purple team at 51. Nashville's at 50 and 15 wins. Columbus, 50 points, 31 matches played, 13 wins. Orlando with a match in hand because of their competitions. So the 6, 7, 8 to be determined. Charlotte, NYC could be dragged down into that if one of them stumbles. Miami right now, once again, 2 matches in hand. They win both of those, and they end up at the top of the standings in the East if they keep the beat and everybody continues to win. Chicago right now is a part of the get-in group. They're at the 9 right now at 43 points. Really, the only team chasing after them, and that's really can chase after them, is Red Bulls at 43 points. So 9-10 is going to be either Chicago or Red Bulls. Everybody else in the East is eliminated: New England, Toronto, Atlanta, DC United, and Montreal. 32, 27, 27, 25, and 24. So once again, Orlando match in hand. If they win, they would be 54, and that would put them in 4th for the moment. So you have all of the mathematical chaos in the Eastern Conference. Really, from 1 and 3 can figure itself out. And then you've got 4 through 8, and then the 9-10. So you have 3 separate groups in the Eastern Conference trying to figure themselves out. Western Conference, after the draw last night, San Diego still has played one more match than Vancouver, 57-56. Minnesota's at 54. They've played 31 matches. That's your first group. LAFC, 2 matches in hand. If they win both of those, they could be at 56 points. Vancouver, if they win the match in hand, they could be at 59. In theory, like I said, if you extrapolate wins and such. So Vancouver, a draw last night in Cascadia with Portland. And this is the second group. The Chase group starts at 5 with Seattle at 45, Austin 44, Portland at 43. So that's group number 2. I'm including LAFC in group number 1 because of matches in hand. 1 through 4, they're in. We just don't know the where. 5, 6, 7, 3 teams, 2 points. Colorado's in 8. Dallas is 9 at 37 points, match in hand. That's your playoff bar. Wild card play-in right now, Colorado and Dallas. Houston's 10 at 36. San Jose's 11 at 35. Salt Lake is 12 at 34. So you have 4 teams, 3 points, chasing after the get-in. By the way, Mark Followell will join us at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning on his way to the airport, and he will help us break down everything going on in his universe in Atlanta and FC Dallas, and we'll try and come up with the most obscure Dallas Burn reference we possibly can. Because if you know Mark's history, he started PA at the Cotton Bowl for the Dallas Burn and has worked his way into doing play-by-play for Apple, and he does Dallas Mavericks stuff and NBA and all of that. So Mark Followell, who is a part of the fabric of Dallas, will be on with us tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning to break down everything going on as he's heading to the airport. So we will do safe guesting with Mark Followell tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. All Caps still mathematically alive at 28 points. Kansas City and LAG both eliminated. Kansas City at 27 points. LAG match in hand at 21 at 4-17 and 9 this season. They've given up 61 goals. They've only scored 37, and it was worse. Still winless on the road at 0-9-7, by the way. So that is the current situation in Major League Soccer as we know it from yesterday leading into today and leading into the rest of the weekend. So that's where we are with the morning. That's your early morning breakdown of anything and everything going on when it comes to the world of soccer. When it comes to MLS, MLS Next Pro, and all the chaos that's attached to it. And so we are efforting Andy Marion and his USASA Hall of Fame induction. We're catching up, hopefully, with him today, and then with Karen Beyer tonight, and we'll air that tomorrow. And if we can't catch up with Andy in this half hour, maybe the time change caught up with him, then we can figure out how to have Andy's interview and Karen's interview tomorrow as a part of the USASA Hall of Fame. We still got 15 minutes before we dial it over to our buddy Nino Torres and go fully loaded here. Hour number 2, once again, you're talking Libertadores, you're talking Sudamericana, you're talking Europe, you're talking South America, you're talking all the things with Nino when he comes in. Like I said, I traditionally don't look at the topics. I know kind of where we're going, but we go with Nino and we catch up with him and find out what's going on in his world. Niko Moreno, Pulso Sports, Sounder at Heart. We catch up with him in the final half hour of the show. So that's where we are with things standing. So because of that, I don't necessarily think we're going to be covering Europe. So let me get into what happened European competitions wise yesterday. And you had a couple of teams in the English theater that were having a bit of time, I think the kids say. So today, once again, second day of league phase in Europa League. Europa Conference League doesn't start until next week. So Europa League phase yesterday. We'll get into juice boxes after we talk about the results. Yesterday, Betis and Nottingham Forest drew at 2 at a plus 254. Braga won at a plus 110, hosting Feyenoord. Red Star and Celtic drew at 1 at a plus 257. Dinamo Zagreb beat Fenerbahce 3-1 at a plus 222. Freiburg beat Basel yesterday at a minus 213, 2-1. Ludogorets Razgrad, big underdog on the day at a plus 462. And the composite beat Malmo 2-1 at Malmo. Roma beat Nice 2-1 at a plus 127. Midtjylland beat Sturm Graz 2-0 at home at a minus 154. Great scenes at Midtjylland, by the way. And the PAOK Salonika and Maccabi Tel Aviv, they drew at 0 at a plus 245. So that was Europa League yesterday. Today, once again, another handful of matches. There's 9, 2 at 12:45. Getaway Eagles and FCSB. Believe it or not, the Eagles are favored at a minus 137 at home. Lille and Braun, Lille a minus 208. Those are 12:45. Then after this, we'll get into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. 3 o'clock, Villa and Bologna. Villa a minus 122. Bologna plus 351. Ferencváros a plus 123, hosting Victoria Pilsen at a plus 215. Rangers, slight favorite against Genk at home at a plus 152. Genk a plus 166. Salzburg a plus 307, a big underdog, hosting Porto at a minus 118. Utrecht a plus 186, hosting Lyon at a plus 142. Stuttgart a minus 119, hosting Celta de Vigo at a plus 292. Young Boys hosting Panathinaikos, favored at a plus 121. Panathinaikos is a plus 212. So that's your Europa League today. And it's days like this where you go to Golazo Network and you watch Niko Cantor and Golazo Network, and they do the Golazo whip around thing. And you try to hang on as best you can. BNB and Espanol, you got Libertadores and Sudamericana. If you missed it last night, like I said, we'll talk about River Plate and Palmeiras with Nino coming up in a bit. Libertadores and Sudamericana both on BN and Espanol on the simulcast. You can get BN at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps them out, helps us out, helps you out in your continuing quest to try and find out about as many leagues as humanly possible so you can be prepared for Picks of the Week on Soccer Over There, which is Mondays at 8 o'clock here on the network. We are live at the Brewhouse Cafe with Jason and any of us that wander by, but we also join virtually. Jarrett joins from Salt Lake. Maddie will join with Sophia from her soccer league on Monday night, and I'll hop in wherever I'm hopping in from. But right now, on Fanatis, by the way, TVV, Gold TV in English and Spanish, TEISE's in their morning show, all the BNs, Liga 1, Liga 1 Max, Premier Paddle in Germany, I think, is about an hour and a half away from starting, and then you have the morning show at TEISE, Super Football. But you get all the BNs, Nuestro Telesitio for the fans, TEISE, Liga 1, Liga 1 Max Pro, CATV, Canal 4, Central CA Sports. You get all the things. You get the Argentine League. You get to watch the LPF. You get to watch Libertadores and Sudamericana. You get all the CONMEBOL qualifiers. That's an extra added. TVV is an extra added too. So 6 o'clock, Libertadores, Sao Paulo and Liga de Quito. Not at 8:30, Sudamericana, Universidad de Chile, and Alianza Lima. CBS Sports Network has a doubleheader in Europa League, Lille and Braun, followed by Aston Villa and Bologna. BN and Espanol simulcasting. ESPN Deportes has La Liga, doubleheader, 1:30, Osasuna Elche, Real Oviedo, Barcelona, 3:30, Gold TV. Probably a very, very busy day for our buddy Nino Torres, so we promise not to get him too excited. Benfica and Gil Vicente is at 3:15. Wanderers and Cerro Porteño out of Uruguay is at 7 o'clock. ESPN Plus simulcasting the La Liga matchups. Everything in Europa League is on Paramount Plus. Doubleheader Copa Italia accessible. Genoa Empoli at 12:30. Torino and Pisa at 3. Women's side to Zone USA. Frauen Bundesliga. 2 matches available 1 o'clock. Bayer Leverkusen, Eintracht Frankfurt, and RB Leipzig and Hamburg. College today. Let's see how stacked it is. Not really. More, and this is a women's soccer day more than anything else. 4 men's matches. Radford, VMI, Marshall, VCU, San Jose State, UC Davis, Oregon State, and Stanford, 4, 7, 10, and 10 Eastern. Women's side, you've got Metro Atlantic Athletic, you've got SoCon, you've got Winthrop. Yeah, that's the Southern Conference. A10, Big East, You have the Tupac. You've got West Coast. North Carolina, Notre Dame is at 6 o'clock on ACC Network. A10, Xavier and UConn on the plus. High Point, South Carolina, upstate. Our friends from Gardner-Webb on the women's side, Presbyterian, that's at 7 o'clock. You've got Big West with Gonzaga. You've got Longwood and Radford, DePaul and Butler in the Midwest. Providence and St. John's out of the A10 in the Big East. West Coast Conference, Loyola Marymount, San Francisco. Cincinnati and Utah is at 9. West Virginia, BYU. 3 matches at 10 o'clock Eastern Pacific in San Diego, Seattle, Washington State, and Santa Clara, and Portland. So that is a lot of matchups. 1, 2:30, 3, 3:55, 1 at 4 o'clock, 4 at 6 o'clock, 3, 6, 8 at 7 o'clock, 3 at 9, and 3 at 10. So that's that is your rundown of everything to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all the things. Tay Say, by the way, is running a poll. Who's responsible for the elimination of River in the Copa Libertadores? Marcelo Gallardo or the players? 5 out of every 6 is saying that it's Marcelo Gallardo. It will be intriguing to see what the latest will be when it comes to Gallardo and his future. You didn't make it to a final. Are you worth hanging out here anymore? We'll start those questions with our buddy Nino Torres coming up in about 10 minutes. So, other news and things to look at. Ex-FIFA VP Jack Warner, Martin Ziegler at the Times, that's not a byline that you want, is not going to face extradition to the U.S. after a ruling by the High Court in his home country, Trinidad and Tobago, ends a 10-year court battle. Disgraced former VP Jack Warner is avoiding extradition to face corruption charges, including allegations he took a $5 million bribe to vote for Russia to host the 2018 World Cup. Lost an appeal to the Privy Council in London in 22, but the High Court in his home country has now permanently stayed extradition proceedings. After the hearing, he told the AP, quote, "I could never get back the lost reputation, which has happened to me. My life can now begin afresh, but it's 10 years too late." Banned for life by FIFA in 2015. Same year, he was charged with wire fraud, racketeering, and money laundering in the U.S. He's always denied any wrongdoing. DOJ indictment alleges he was paid by Russia via 10 shell companies based in several offshore accounts. Also alleged by the DOJ indictment, he was paid $1.6 million by Qatar's former FIFA member Mohammed bin Hammam, $450,000 of which was before the vote of the 22 World Cup, which was won by Qatar. Bin Hammam was banned by life for FIFA in 2012, denied any wrongdoing. Warner told the Times in 22 the action by the DOJ was a result of the UK and US losing bids for the 18 and 22 World Cups, respectively, which led to a police swoop on Zurich's Bar Al Alak Hotel in 2015, and that was where FIFA executives were arrested. That was the whole Sepp Blatter arrest. Warner, quote, "They," meaning the UK and the US, "therefore not pleased, and thereafter began a campaign against FIFA, which resulted in the arrest and prosecution of several executive committee members of FIFA who had assembled for a meeting in Zurich." This week, Justice Karen Reed ruled in Trinidad's High Court the extradition proceedings were flawed because of the absence of an official extradition agreement. Warner was a powerful ally of Sepp Blatter from 98 till 2011, and that made him an important figure for the World Cup bids for folks to target. A report by Michael Garcia into the bidding for 2018 and 2022, published by FIFA in 2017, outlined the lengths of England's World Cup bid that had gone in order to woo Warner. Warner showered England's bid team with inappropriate requests. And according to Garcia's report, the bid team often accommodated his wishes in apparent violation of bidding rules in the FIFA Code of Ethics, end quote. Warner secured jobs for an official named Richard Sebro, whom he called his adopted son, with Spurs at Wembley and with Aston Villa, according to the report. England 2018 sponsored the 2010 Caribbean Football Union Congress that had a lavish £35,000 dinner, suggested twinning Warner's hometown of Longdenville with Burton-upon-Trent, home of St. George's National Football Center, said they would help construct a new playing surface in that town. Warner also asked the FA to write off a debt of £215,000 owed by Jamaica's FA for financial aid for his football team, Joe Public. FA covered the costs, apart from airfares, for the Trinidad U20 team to spend a week in England playing 2 matches. FA didn't respond when Garcia's full report was published in 2017, when an outline report was published in 2014, quote, "We were not given any prior notice of the report before publication. We don't accept any criticism regarding the integrity of England's bid or any of the individuals involved." Friendly between Trinidad and England in 2008, seen as an attempt to secure Warner's backing, but that was before a World Cup bid had been launched. All the efforts, once again, fruitless. Warner voted for Russia in the vote for 2010. So Jack Warner, he has been interested, an interested party for quite some time. So BB's looking for a list of live game streams. Okay, so what I do, BB, is this. I go to Cherry's cheat sheet. So he is at Cheat Sheet Guy on Twitter. Let me do this. So BB here, at Cheat Sheet Guy on Twitter. That's where I go. So if you're looking for Libertadores, BB right there. He gives you on Twitter everything every single day. No kidding. Everything every single day. And you go and you follow up what it looks like with him, and it gives you all the places that you can look. Like if it's on FIFA.com, he tells you it's on FIFA.com. Fanatis, Veeks, BN's on BN's. So, BB, that's where I go every single day when I look at stuff, plus Soccer America for the domestic stuff here in the U.S. But live game streams, I go to the cheat sheet. And it's a big listing. And so follow them on the 280 character app, and you can go and look at what is up there when it comes to all the things. So yeah, that's where I go anyway. So I go to Cherry's cheat sheet, the cheat sheet guy on Twitter, and you can follow there, and you can get everything going on with Libertadores. And also, subtle plug, BB, you can listen to our Copa Libertadores show with our friend Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccer Metrics. He comes on. He'll probably have a show later today, setting you up for everything in the Copa Libertadores. So set your notifications with us on social media, and Howard will break down what happened, and he'll set up the table for everything else. So keep an eye out for that here on the network later today to get you ready for the next round in Copa Libertadores. But if you're looking for stuff to watch and where to watch it, go there. Go here. Don't go to my name. Go to there on Twitter. Cheat sheet guide. Cherry's cheat sheet. That's where I go. And I get a big list of everything across the planet and find out where he is locked in and logged in when it comes to anything and everything there. Other headlines really quickly. Let me see if there's anything that I've missed. West Ham players were backing Graham Potter amid doubts over alternatives. So you got the dreaded vote of confidence, but we'll see. The Telegraph has a story up. The Premier League spending rules are an attempt to curb a football regulator, according to the clubs themselves. A vote on the PSR replacement is expected for November as the league proposes a systemic sustainability rule. Tom Morgan with a story, including measures. The proposed new spending rules include measures attempting to fend off intervention by the regulator. Discussions took place at a meeting of shareholders Tuesday around the yet-to-be-agreed-to replacement for PSR. No decision has been made, but a vote on the new financial regime anticipated for November at the earliest. They're chasing after club financial soundness. At least the regulator is, and the tackling of that element, stated aim in law to test club financial soundness. Systemic sustainability rules, one of three strands of financial regulations, along with squad cost, control ratio, and anchoring, helping to frame the new system for the incoming regulator. So we'll see what happens with that note in November. Let's see. Checking the other papers and seeing if there's anything that I missed. There is somebody being an idiot, apparently, on social media to Jessica Nas of Spurs. We'll get into that probably at some point but before we leave here today. Let's see. FIFA apparently is not planning a 64-team men's final, despite the meeting in New York City that we talked about in depth yesterday. I am still not holding my breath on that, but we'll keep an eye on that in particular as we go. But yeah, the Jack Warner story came across our bow this morning. We figured we had to let you know about that. Looks like William Saliba is not going to Real Madrid, and he's going to sign a new £250,000 a week deal with Arsenal. And let's see, Eberici Eze got a goal in Carabao Cup. Arsenal eventually got the job done in Carabao Cup yesterday with the 2-0 win over Port Vale. And so one of those, you figure one of those matchups might be kind of hanging around, and you're like, I don't know. But results in the Carabao Cup and the Gummy Bear yesterday. Arsenal once again 2-0 win over Port Vale. Took them a while. They were like a 4-figure favorite, a minus 11. Manchester City cruised over Huddersfield at a minus 526, 2-0. Newcastle 4-1 over Bradford City. Spurs 3-0 over Doncaster Rovers. All four big favorites, all 4-1. To combine with Liverpool, Brighton, Cardiff, Fulham, Chelsea, Wickham, Wolves, and Wrexham. So you go from there and you look at the next go round, and the round of 16 is set for the 29th. Arsenal, Brighton, Grimsby, Brentford, Liverpool, Palace, Newcastle, Spurs, Swansea, Manchester City, Wolves, Chelsea, Wrexham, and Cardiff, which will be beyond tasty with the two Welsh teams playing for the first time in over 2 decades, and Wickham and Fulham. It is hour number 2, and that means one thing. That means one thing. One thing only. Beginning of hour number 2 on Thursdays. And I'm under the impression that we probably have to keep this gentleman's energy level on an even keel, because I think he's probably busy later today as a part of stuff going on in Portugal. We'll get into that and everything else on his mind. I have not seen the topics. I know they exist. And I have the topics. But it is that time on a Thursday where we catch up with our buddy Nino Torres in Lima, Peru, where we go fully loaded. Yellow.
Soccer Down Here fans. We are back, baby. We're back, fully loaded, happy, and ready to roll here on this morning of glorious soccer days, man.
First and foremost, how's your mom?
Mama is good. Mama, she's actually and she's home. She's back home now. She's back home. She's awesome. She's recovering. She's gonna go to her therapy, and yeah, everything worked out perfect, man. Just perfect. I'm so happy. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful.
And obviously, we're keeping an eye on things across all the social media and making sure that everything was cool and that everybody came out the other side as 140,000% healthy as humanly possible. I want to start with the copas. Obviously, I'm watching Tay say this morning, as I'm wont to do, and find out what's going on in their part of the world. And there is a poll up. They are asking the fans in one of the biggest sucker bet polls that you could ever have. Who is responsible for River Plate getting bounced in the Copa? Is it Gallardo or is it the players themselves? It's the chicken and egg poll. Literally, is it Gallardo's fault River's not around anymore, or is it the players' fault that River's not around anymore? Palmeiras done took care of business, and River Plate is out. So, whose fault is it? Question mark, that River Plate ain't around no more.
It can be one of the other. You can pick one and put the other on the side. It's both, man. It's both. Gallardo, he did everything that was in his power. River Plate gave them. You want a striker? Okay, you got a striker. You want a center mid? I gave you a center mid. You got a World Cup defender. I'll give you a World Cup defender. What else do you need? Nothing. Maybe I needed the return of Juanfer Quinteros. Okay, we got Juanfer Quinteros back. Oh, we steal Salas. We steal Salas from Racing, so we can get it. Yeah. Let's steal Salas from Racing. All the pieces. He put all the pieces together for this team to succeed in the Copa Libertadores. But in the end, it's none of the others, all right? It's not Gallardo's fault. It's not the players' fault. It is Palmeiras' fault, because they are way too good. And the problem in Argentina with my boys from THC, my boys from the ESPN Argentina, my boys from TNT Argentina, they don't accept it, brother. Brazil is, I want to say, 2 steps ahead of Argentina in terms of on this competition in CONMEBOL. Everybody's chasing Brazil, brother. Everybody's chasing Brazil. We discussed the numbers the other day. You know, when you got when you got $2 billion, $2 billion in money to spend on your tournament, on your teams, on your players, on your development, on your coaches. You say money can buy money can buy anything. Well, in soccer, they're pretty close to it, brother. In soccer, they're so close to that the money can buy anything. And right now, it's been what 5 years, 6 years. When was the last time that we won the 2018?
7.
Right, 2018, 7 years, right, of dominance, of absolute dominance, of brutal dominance from the Brazilians. All right, if it's not Palmeiras, it's Flamengo. If it's not Flamengo, it's Fluminense. If it's not Fluminense, it's Botafogo. Brother, it's only Brazilians. They dominate CONMEBOL, and there's nothing that you can do about it in the near future. By the way, next year, unless there's one thing, somebody, I think somebody, there are two players in this race that I think they can maybe come up with the super underdogs cape and knock out the Brazilians. There are two. One is Racing, and the other one is Liga de Quito. Nobody's talking about Liga de Quito. Why is that, brother? Why is that? The last 6 teams that went to Quito, last 6 Brazilian teams that went to Quito, they all lost. The Liga beat every single Brazilian that went to Ecuador. All right, and they're about to win another series against Sao Paulo because sorry, Enrique Crespo, but you're I mean, because you were a striker, you're a phenomenal striker. You think only on scoring goals, but you're not so good defending your goal, brother. You're not so good. You know that defense from Sao Paulo, it could be a catastrophe sometimes. It could be a catastrophe sometimes. All right, and with all due respect to Arboleda and to Ferraresi, the level is not up there. The level of defense is not Copa Libertadores champions level. So it's not. On the other side, Liga Quito. Nobody, I mean, well, I think I said, I've talked about Ricardo Ade many times. And did I not? Did I?
Yeah,
I did, maybe.
You laid out Liga de Quito. You did.
Yeah, right. But but Ricardo Ade, he's from Haiti, right? Who's this guy from Haiti, brother? From Haiti. He's the captain of the national team of Haiti. He's 34 now, but he's so fit, brother. So fit that he looks like he's 21, man. You know, and he runs. He's solid. And you know what's crazy? That at the end of the games, you see Ricardo Ade, and he's like, oh, I can play another game right now, you know, because he's so well anticipating that he doesn't chase people. You know, he anticipates with his mind, with his positioning, and with his panoramic view. And they have probably one of the best defenses in the entire Copa Libertadores, and that's what is gonna get you to the championship. Remember, Liga already won once. They already won Sudamericana. It's not delusional to think that Liga de Quito could win the Copa Libertadores.
Because right now, for those that are not following along, right now in the quarters, Palmeiras beat River Plate 5-2 in the aggregate, which was the other thing that's causing folks to sit there and pull their hair out. And Racing Club over Vélez Sarsfield 2-0 in the aggregate for those for those 2 matches there. Flamengo leading Estudiantes coming into tonight 2-1, and Liga de Quito going back to the round of 32.
Yeah.
They were Liga de Quito loses the opening leg to Botafogo 1-0. Then they come back to win 2-0. Now they've shut out Sao Paulo 2-0 in the first leg of this go-round. So they haven't given up a goal in this competition since that first round, or since the round of 32 to Botafogo. Last 2 matches have been shutouts. They're coming into the matchup tonight with Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo got through
defensive dominance, brother. Defensive dominance.
Defense wins you championships.
Yes, sir. You know it, baby.
And so right now, that's what you're staring at with the semis tonight in the Copa Libertadores. Sudamericana on the flip side, And those of us based here at SDH HQ, we have a somewhat of a vested interest in Lanús, because the gentleman that scored the late goal in the first leg for Lanús is a gentleman by the name of Marcelino Moreno. Marcelino Moreno spent some time here with Atlanta United, and I feel it was an underappreciated time at Atlanta United, but he has helped Lanús get through what we've seen and get to that next run. And so it's been fun for us to see what Marcelino Moreno has been able to do with Lanús in the Copa Sudamericana.
And I've seen the latest games from Lanús, and Marcelino. He's he's the distribution manager. He's the logistics manager. He's the overall manager of this Lanús. He controls the tempo. He takes it when we go fast, when we go slow. He controls the counterattacks, and he's so he's so wise, man. He's so wise because he doesn't have that super speed anymore, right? But he controls it. He manages. All right, I can be you're going 95 miles an hour. I'm going 70, but let me turn the corner here. You're gonna derail. I'm not. Okay. So that's how Marcelino Moreno is controlling the game and in Lanús, and I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him. I was watching the game the other night. He was just brilliant, brother. Brilliant. I love it, man.
And with Lanús, you have them to look at, but you also have Universidad de Chile and Alianza Lima. That one is tonight. That one's at 8:30. Universidad de Chile is a -115 favorite at the Francisco Sanchez Rumoroso in Coquimbo, Chile. Universidad de Chile and Alianza Lima. And I sit there and I look at, because everyone has been cured of the flu thanks to Lanús. Fluminense is out the door, and so now it's Lanús and either Alianza Lima and Universidad de Chile.
That is going to be playing at an empty stadium. No away fans, no fans at all. And but I was talking about this yesterday, and yesterday morning, and that the Chileans are probably the what's the word for this? The nastiest, right? The nastiest fans in South America. Yeah. And I said no, because and there's nothing to be proud about it, right? Because it's not that like you go into La Bombonera and you feel the atmosphere, you feel the stadium roaring. You go to the Maracanã, it's imposing, right? But when you go to Chile, they don't have that power, right? So what they do, they play dirty. They play dirty, and they what they did to a national team in Peru, with Peruvian national team. It was in the 97 World Cup qualifiers. We got to go to Santiago to play for the the only thing we got to do is to tie the game, right? And they play at the Nacional Stadium in Santiago. Fresh paint, brother, in the locker rooms. Fresh paint. In the locker rooms, right? And then they connect the speakers throughout the vents, right? And they blasted military chants.
Wow!
Throughout the entire halftime, throughout before the game, it was just they had that. They had that. Because I don't know what it is, man. And I'm mentioning this because they were interviewing a Peruvian player. I mean, Ecuadorian player, plays for a Peruvian team, Fernando Gaibor. And it was mostly Peruvian media surrounding the player. And then some Chileans, they started to scream, really xenophobic things. And it's not classy, maybe that's why the rest of South America doesn't like the Chileans, man. And maybe that's why. Maybe I mean, they earned the rights. I mean, I love them when they won the two Copa Americas, but it's not. If you run a poll, brother, let's get a Ecuadorian, Colombian, Venezuelan, a Brazilian, and an Argentinian, and a Peruvian myself too. Probably they're not going to win the Miss Congeniality.
They ain't winning the popularity contest, huh?
No, they're not. They're going to be probably dead last in that category, brother. Yeah.
Right-hand side of the bracket, Atletico Mineiro over Bolivar and Independiente del Valle. That one that goes to PKs. They come back tied at 2 in the aggregate with Once Caldas. They go to PKs, and we were watching that during the rain delay last night. We had Sudamericana on one computer. We had the Libertadores on the other computer. We're going back and forth between all those matches last night. Independiente del Valle on the right-hand side of the bracket.
Yeah, and that's a team that kind of downgraded in the last couple of years. It was, the Independiente was a top team a couple of years ago, and now I don't know. They're not going through, and that game, that series with Once Caldas is wide open. Huh? It is way open. Anything could happen in that series. And the one player that I love in Independiente del Valle is Claudio Paul Spinelli. Came from Defensor Sporting. And he was in conversations with Universitario Deportes, man. He was in conversations, man. His agent contacted him, and we couldn't get the deal done. We couldn't get it done, man. We couldn't get it done. But we're talking about getting another striker for next season. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Universitario and the strikers in the summer transfer window.
Mm-hmm. And so here was how it was phrased to me, because like I said, when I open our DMs, here's how it was phrased. All about the Copas. Palmeiras, the CONMEBOL Terminator. Racing, when Nino Damas was right chapter. LDU, the other dark horse. The flu is out. What if Lanús Alianza versus Universidad de Chile? That's literally 5 lines getting into both of these competitions that are hardcore. And obviously, it was a fun watch on a bunch of different fronts for the casual fan last night, but not for the dudes that were active in it. And as it always is the case, you've got the reporter doing the live shot outside the River Plate offices. River de la Heroica a la Desilusión en Brazil.
Sorry.
That's the lower that's the lower third of the dude doing the live shot right now inside the River Plate offices as they wait on the morning show to figure out whether or not Gazzardo is going to.
They went from hero to zero.
Down here. Topic 2. The return of the special one to Portugal hasn't been special yet.
Yeah. Jose Mourinho, after 21 years, returning to Liga Portugal, after being sacked from Fenerbahce, after losing this spot in the Champions League. He's back in the Champions League with Benfica, with his old team, coaching in Lisbon, coaching on his original place, saying that Benfica is one of the 2 biggest clubs in the world, and mentioning he was so, special one. His mouth is just incredible. But what he said on this press conference, it wasn't right at all. I'm just hoping that he's not gonna go to Turkey anytime soon, because he said that going to Fenerbahce was a mistake. It wasn't at my level. It wasn't at the soccer level. I think there's no regret, but you have to know when you made a mistake and you recognize that you made a mistake. I was like, what are you talking about? Just said. Don't go to Turkey, brother, anytime soon. All right, because in Turkey, those guys, that's why they call the Inferno, the hell.
They are stone cold serious, man.
Brother, they're hardcore. I mean, you're talking about hardcore. You're talking about Chileans. Chileans are babies. They're babysitters, man. Right next to these guys, man. Nothing. Chileans are nothing against with the Turkey guys. But anyway, so he came in, right? And he got an easy schedule, right? It was not, the league didn't set it up for Mourinho's return. But on the schedule were 2 easy games for Benfica, right? There was one that was Rio Ave, and the other one was, hold on, what was the other one? I forgot. Bottom of the table teams.
You had Santa Clara. Was the other,
no, the one they already played. Where's
well, you had AFS was a 3-0 win, and then they
Santa Clara, yes, Santa Clara, and was AFS, right? Avis, which is like Nothing. They don't even have the name right because they don't have the rights of this naming rights. But anyway, um, so nothing convincing, brother. Nothing convincing. The struggle continues. He made a few substitutions, uh, and it reminds me of one Brazilian coach. Right, he was epic. But this is we're talking about 51 years ago or more. Right, his name is Elba de Padua Lima team. So he arrived to coach San Lorenzo in the Liga Argentina. He didn't know any of the teams, right? He didn't know any of the teams. He was not aware of anything, right? So their first halves sucked. So they totally sucked, right? And so at halftime, the guy finally, oh, this guy's playing like that. Okay, guys, I got it. I figured this team out. In second half, they were rolling. It's kind of the same with Mourinho. It's like, oh, where's Santa Clara? Dude, I used to play Chelsea. I used to play Manchester United. Who's Santa Clara, right? So he wasn't aware of the Santa Clara's powers, and then he wasn't aware of how to beat ABS. So the first halves have been trash for Benfica. And the second half, once Mourinho figures out who's playing, how they're playing, there's certain improvement. But it's going to take a time for Mourinho to transition in. But he doesn't have much time because in October 5th, it's El Clásico, all right? And Porto is absolutely rolling, dominating the league, being back in business with a coach that is so smart, playing the players at the right place at the right time. He's not making any experiments. If you're a right winger, you're gonna play right winger. If you are a left back, you're gonna be left back. No changing places. No. He puts the players where they belong, and he puts the player where they excel at their positions. So that's why the result: Porto is running the table. They consider only 3 goals in the last 6 rounds. Outscoring teams, outscoring players. They beat already. Sport in the first Clásico of the season. Everything is right with Porto. So be careful, my dear Jose. You're not a special one right now. Right now, you're not.
Last 3 for Benfica, 1-1 draw with Santa Clara, the 3-0 win over AFS, who only has 1 point in their first 6, and then the 1-1 draw with Rio Ave, who right now is in 16th place. They have not won yet.
And that game, Johnny, Rio Ave hasn't beat Benfica at Estadio de Luz ever, right? 26-4-0 is the record of Benfica. And for the first time in 21 years, that Rio Ave got a point out of Estadio de Luz with a late goal. It was massive. It was awesome. I call it. It was beautiful.
And so we will continue to keep an eye on the special one as things go. And you being our conduit there. In order to be appreciated, you must find the right place, Rashford, Antony, and Dembele.
It's like in life, brother. It happens like in life, If you're not being appreciated, you're on the wrong place. You're on the place, or you're with the wrong person. And this is exactly what happens in soccer too. Dembele, I was watching some reels, right? When his time he was at Barcelona. They were just bullying the guy, man. They were bullying the guy. They were, no, you're not in the picture. Hey, carry the cup. Hey, do more laps. They're just bullying this guy, right? Not appreciating the guy. And the guy left, went to PSG, found Luis Enrique, and Luis Enrique put him right there at the top. Brother, you go ahead and shine. Do what you want. Because for me, he right now is the obviously Ballon d'Or, but not only because of that, but I don't recall since Zinedine Zidane a player that dominates both legs or both feet, right? Because you seen players, striking with the right foot and striking with the left foot, but you don't know if Dembele lefty, is he a righty? I don't know, brother, because he can take strikes with both feet with no problem. That control of your both profiles, right, from your right side or your left side, I haven't seen it since Zinedine Zidane. And that's remarkable. And on these days where all the techniques, everything is on the line about the athleticism, but not about the technical aspect of the game. And dominating the fundamentals it's what is having Dembele in at the top of the world right now, and he's at the right place at the right time. And I saw Anthony too yesterday with Betis, and you remember, Jesus man, I love them when he was in Ajax, but then he went to United and he just couldn't get it right, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also. Yeah, and the media was destroying him, and you know how nowadays social media makes a lot of noise, man, a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Renato Portaluppi said that it's like social media is ruined soccer. Social media is ruined soccer. He was sacked the very first the next day after he lost the Fluminense. Said, that social media, man, it is what it is, man. And also Rashford, these three players are the perfect example of if you're not appreciated, you are at the wrong place, man.
Yeah,
That's how it is, man.
two of those last two are coming from Manchester United. Is there I'm just saying Manchester United. Just saying.
I don't know. Maybe something wrong with United. I don't know, brother. But since Fergie left, Jesus, we just. I'm not saying we because United is my team. It's my team, but I'm following now with the new signings, right? With Mbumo, with Matheus Cunha, but
I know
it's not there, man. It's not the level. Talking about levels, Mourinho. You want to talk about levels, Mourinho? This is about levels, man, of players, right? And then of course I close the game and I put up my YouTube channel. And saw the goals from Ronaldo, from Roy Keane, from Paul Scholes, and I was like, where this guy's at? We cannot find players like this anymore. And it's not like United hasn't spent money. They spent a lot of money, right? Well, close to $1 billion in the last 4 or 5 years. And where are the results, brother? Where are the results? I don't
know. Full disclosure, we on Soccer Over There, which runs Monday nights from 8 until 10. The last half hour is our Picks of the Week segment.
All right.
And what we try to do is amongst all of us here at SDH and our plus ones and anybody else that watches, we have kind of like a competition against ourselves as to who can pick the best on a weekly basis. This matchup that we're talking about coming up here in a second was one of our games for the Picks of the Week. Copa Uruguay, Tacuarembó, and Peñarol. This literally was one of our picks.
Really? Was it?
Yeah, because this way we got to introduce everybody to Tacuarembó and to the Copa Uruguay and all of that stuff. So I picked the 90-minute draw. And a lot of folks, because of the numbers, Peñarol is a -156. They were favored, all that kind of stuff. And so everybody kind of went with the Peñarol money and just took the hit. I said, because Tacuarembó, I'm thinking it's going to be kind of pesky, be a difficult environment. I'm thinking 90-minute draw. I was 17 minutes away from being absolutely correct because the game goes 106 minutes, goes like not like added time or nothing, but literally 16, 17 added minutes. Peñarol scores at 90 plus 11. In the 101st, you get a red card at 90 plus 16, 106. Peñarol advances 2-1 over Tacuarembó. I lose that particular pick because somebody felt compelled to sit there and just go, yeah, we'll have 17 added minutes and all chaos happen from there. So you have the wildest game of the season in the Copa Uruguay. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
That one. I was calling, and it was crazy, right? That I never seen. I don't think I'm pretty sure. I'm positive that I never seen 3 red cards to the bench.
Oh.
Actually, hold on. The 4 red cards to the bench. Coach, assistant coach, the goalies, and who else? I don't know. The first red card to a player on the pitch was in the 97th or 99 or whatever minute that was, because of that penalty. That it was a penalty, right? But I don't know, but it was wild. It was absolutely wild, and And I was certain that the Pino was going to be ousted again because this Copa Uruguay it hasn't been since it was created only a few years ago. 2022 was the first edition. You could never get into the finals. Peñarol hasn't been just like, oh no, Copa Uruguay, maybe no, this FA Cup kind of thing. We're not into it. And then they were ousted by La Luz, right? La Luz the first year. All right, next year they were ousted again. Next year they were ousted again. And this year they were so close to be ousted again in this competition. And this is a round of 32. We're not talking about Jesus, man. It was insane. And you know what drove me crazy too about this game is that Diego Aguirre, he shuffled that formation. First, he was not playing with a striker. Then he had 2 strikers. And then he was playing with a back 3. Then he went to a back 4. I was like moving my pieces. I was calling the game. I was like, what is going on here? So why you didn't start playing like that from the beginning instead of like changing all around your formation throughout the game? He changed the formation 3 times in that game, Johnny. 3 times. 3 times. He was like, what are you doing, bro? I was just trying to win a game, but you could have tried to win a game from the get-go. No,
man.
No, down the road, you know.
Oh God! Tonight it's Racing Montevideo, big favorite against Universitario Salto. Racing Montevideo knocked off our Kentucky buddies at Boston River 1-0 back in the round of 32, 16, 32 quarters. So quarters is 8. So you're round of 16. What else are you calling this week?
On Saturday we're going. I'm off today and Friday.
Oh, so you get to watch Benfica and Gil Vicente.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Just one quick thing about Gil Vicente. Gil Vicente is my team in Portugal. I'm just saying, Gil Vicente is my team. Special place in Barcelos. The stadium is beautiful, and they're having their best start of the season in decades. Right, in decades. Their defense is massive. They only conceded twice after 6 rounds, and they're number 4 right now on the table. Number 4, only lost once. And who knows? Who knows about Gil Vicente? All right, Sporting. I'm calling Sporting on Saturday. Calling Liverpool, Boston River on Saturday night. So my boys from Kentucky will be happy. Braga Nacional on Sunday. We got Miramar Defensor. And also, we're closing the weekend on a Monday night soccer edition of Liga Portugal with Aruca versus Porto, the almighty Dragons, baby.
Man, we're going to be fully loaded watching and listening to you the entire time. As always, my friend, like I said, you know that we love you very much, and we just wanted to, first thing, check in about you and your mom and find out what's going on there. We're glad everything is on the mend and that she is going to be elbowing her way into VIP seats there back home at the earliest time that she will, and she's just going to go and shake hands with everybody short of the prime minister and the president of the country in short order. Obviously, you know, we'll be watching, we'll be listening, and we'll be having conversations with you in the WhatsApp, so we can talk through it with you on the weekend, as always, on TV. Love it when we go fully loaded, my friend, and we will catch up with you soon. Be well.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
There goes Nino. And so Nino fully loaded. You see what he's up to at Gold TV. And once again, Gold TV, English and Spanish. You can get it at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you get to find out what in the wide world of sports is going on. And it's always fun for me. Like I said, it's somewhat selfish. But at the same time, we get the education on things like Tacuarembó. When do you get to find out about things like Tacuarembó? On Picks of the Week for soccer over there, Monday nights from 8 to 10. So the last half hour's Picks of the Week. That's on the network. Jason's at the brew house. We're all at the brew house in various forms, and most of us are virtual. But when Nino comes in, we get to talk about it with him. We get to find out Copa Uruguay, and we sit there and go, why is this second division team causing problems for Peñarol? Because they played 107 minutes. I want 17. How? 17 minutes of stoppage. You get a goal at 90 plus 11, and you get a red at 90 plus 16. What in the wide world of sports happened there? See, this is why you have to watch Gold TV, so you can go back and watch the match and find out why the programming director at Gold TV is sitting there going, man, we're going to be joining Ish in progress. He's driving himself crazy. It's like, okay, somebody in master control hit the button. They're not done. I can see the guy in master control sitting. The program director's on the loudspeaker with the guy in master control waiting to hit the button to change the channel. And by the way, on Gold TV, Jason and I were watching this last night. If you have not seen the lower division Argentine soccer show that airs on Gold TV, where it has like a Primera Nacional, Zona A, Zona B, all that stuff. You got some great crowds. You got some great highlights. Look, you got video of these games where literally you have a team that is dressed in an all-black uniform, and they had outline literally, and it was a play-by-play guy's nightmare because the numbers themselves were black, but they only had like a white outline around the number itself. And so you had that club posing for their pregame picture. You know how you always do. You get the group of 11. They're sitting there, arms around each other, 2 or 3 rows. The game ball's right there. Team photographer is taking the picture. You literally have a darkest of dark smoke bomb going off behind them on the far side touch. And that is the establishing shot of this highlight package for this particular game. That please, whatever higher power you believe in, can they not ever wear these uniforms ever again on television? And you hope that the grass isn't destroyed from the smoke bombs that were put off behind the players as they're taking the team picture to start the match. That's what you were getting into. Seriously. The lower division Argentine highlight show that airs on Gold TV is must watch, because there were some absolute bangers and golazos and craziness. And it's also an education for us for picks of the week. But anyway, I mean, it's always fun to catch up with Nino on a bunch of different fronts. And when you get the education, because literally we talked about Libertadores, Sudamericana, Uruguay, Portugal, transfers, all that. And Catalucci, yeah, it's always a great time with Nino. And I would recommend, if you have Fanatis, to make sure, and that's why I always ask Nino what matches he's calling, so that way you can kind of watch, and then you can have conversations with him on Twitter or on the 280, and then you can have these conversations with him as he's going through, because he'll stop and have a conversation in the middle of the match. That's just how it goes. So as we are on a Thursday, what show goes from Atlanta to Lima and from Atlanta to Seattle? There's one answer, this one. Because it is the last half hour of the show on a Thursday, it means we go to Seattle, Washington, to the edges of the Palouse, to the shadows of Mount Rainier and what's left of Mount St. Helens. We find out what's going on with what's left of the Tupac before they resurrect themselves as the pack, however many they're going to have, 8, 10, or whatever. Thursdays with Niko, we dial it up with our buddy Niko Moreno, Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart, and check out the lighting and the lid. There you go. He's got the Cougs lid going. He's got the Seattle flag behind him. He's got the mood lighting going. You got the key light. I see you got the key lights going. You got the lights now. You're dialing it up a stage at a time. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, John? SDH family. We are back, of course, for another segment of Thursdays with Niko. Just excited to be on. I am in my second cup of coffee today. Got the lid on because didn't have enough time to do my hair. And, after unfortunate result of the Apple Cup, we're still going to rep it. We're right here.
On the college football side of things, we do have a couple of programs over there, and we always mention the opportunity to go hang out and either A, go to the Palouse, or B, be a part of the Husky Navy early on in the year. It is a must-do thing if it's on your college football bucket list.
Yeah, the atmosphere out here is definitely worth checking out. Either for a good Husky game, or if you want to go to the Apple Cup, all the way to Pullman, it's also really really fun.
Mhm.
The atmosphere was there for this one over there at Martin Stadium. So yeah, man, there's a couple of really good fun atmospheres college wise for football over here as well.
All right. So let me ask you this. When it comes to Seattle, is there a keeper controversy? Are we making too much out of it? Is it just line of succession and Andrew Thomas proving that he is getting ready for when Steph ever decides that he's going to hang him up? Is Andrew Thomas making that plot for, hey, I'm the number one dude? What is going on between the sticks?
No, there's definitely competition, and it is a subject that has divided fans, has divided opinions, and it kind of depends on which side of the argument you lie. I do believe that regardless of there being a true competition for the starting position, uh, I don't think it's one that is as a determinant factor as other positioning battles that there are for this team. Look, Andrew Thomas has been outstanding. He's a phenomenal shot stopper. He's a guy that is clearly incredibly athletic and can get to certain balls that perhaps Steph can't. But the reality is, as you saw in this one, is that he's also not Superman, right? In the last game at Austin, there's only so much a keeper can do when your center back is giving up a very easy turnover in midfield. There's a bunch of space for the striker to run over to and then finish in front of you. And same goes for the last goal of the game, where nobody closes down on Pereira that's trying to put a service into the 18. There is not a very good job done marking up on players running into the box, and you get scoring, right? So I do think that the edge between Andrew Thomas and Stephen Fry is very minimal, to be quite frank. I think that a lot of people sleep on Steph's experience and Steph's savviness and understanding of the game, read of the game, distribution, and a lot of that can counteract some of the maybe one or two steps he's lost over the years. So I still feel very confident with Stephen Fry as the leader of this group, as the starting keeper, as a guy that's going to go into a playoff game knowing what to expect, how to perform, and what to do and what not to do. So I do think that right now, although there is a controversy, per Brian Smetzer, Steph's still number one. Only reason why Andrew played against Austin's because there was an illness. Steph didn't travel, so maybe not as controversial as some people might think.
There are contract issues with Seattle that have to be addressed at the end of this season, because your DPs and your TAMs, they're either 26s or 27, short of Yamar, who's out of contract this year, but he has an option year for 26. John Bell, Stephen Fry out of contract. Kim Kee-hee, option year for 26. Musovsky, option year for 26. Nuhu, option year for 26. Joe Paulo, option year for 26. Reed Baker-Whiting, out of contract. Jacob Castro, option year for 26. Paul Rothrock, out of contract. Travian Sosa, option years for 26 and 27. Obed Vargas, option year for 26. And Leo Burney, who's out on loan, has option years for 26, 7, and 8. So how many players is that? That's a lot. 3, 4, 7, 10, 12 players that have either option years coming up or out of contracts where decisions have to be made. When you're looking at the young players that have been making impacts, I mean, we can address the older players as we go here, but obviously having Stephen Fry out of contract is something you got to stare at. Reed Baker-Whiting out of contract, Paul Rothrock out of contract, and it should be a slam dunk to pick up Obed Vargas for that option year of 26. What's going on here?
Yeah. So first of all, Reed did get a contract extension last week through 28 with an option for 29. That is the beginning of everything you just painted for our audience, right? There is a lot of decisions to be made. I think that a lot of those options for next year will be picked up. That just means that you have an extra year. You got to figure out this guy longer term if you're really willing or wanting to keep them around. Obit is the biggest one. Obit is the main, contract that you have to try to address for many reasons. Obviously, he's your most talented player. He just won the number one of 22 under 22 for MLS. He's a guy that is worth a lot of money in the transfer window for Europe or wherever his next step might be. And believe it or not, if his agent and him wanted to do so, they could just hold out and they could not sign an extension and try to leave on a free after that option runs out next year. So for me, that is the biggest one, right? You got to give him a max U22 contract. You have to try to extend him for at least 3 years, and then obviously find a pathway to get him to Europe and be able to get something. Now, if you're unable to do that and there is some hardball being played, then that's unfortunate, because that's really going to put a wrinkle in a career of a young man that has been all about the Sounders all about him, a great product of the academy. But it is a business, and Seattle has to find a way to get something for him. So whether it's through MLS or whatever it might be, you might have to do something about that. So that's one of the biggest ones. The rest of them, as Craig Weibel said himself, if there's going to be a lot of turnover next year, is going to be through transfers. He's going to pick up all of his options and maybe deal and wheel as it goes if he feels like he cannot extend a Daniel Musovski, who's a guy that is clearly has made a case to get a raise, right? So they're going to pick up his option, but his agent will not be doing his job if he was not asking for a raise. Paul Rothrock's in a similar situation where he was made the poster child of the Messi game, the Leagues Cup final. He performs. He's been a team player. He's this, spark plug for the team. So his agent would not be doing his job if he wasn't asking for a big contract. I had heard he was between the high 600s to about 750 that they were asking for before. I would think that that's even higher now, at least to start the conversation. So as a player that is not a young gun, he is 28 and he does need to get a payday. That's going to be another one that I think we'll watch for because I think there is a market for a guy like Paul Rothrock out there, and understanding his situation, he's going to want to get paid. I know he wants to be here. I know he loves the city. He loves his team. He's all about being and playing for the Sounders. But, tough decisions happen in the negotiating table. So there are a lot of big decisions for the Sounder teams moving forward.
All 3 U22 slots are available, right?
Yes. At this time, well, now, obviously, Reed Baker Whiting's going to take one of those. Yep. So then you still have 2. Correct.
Yeah. So 2 U22s. So there are places where you can stash folks when it comes to these new deals and such. And you look at the situation currently, and I mentioned the U22s and the pipeline that we always like to talk about involving Seattle and Tacoma. Tacoma next to last in the Western Conference in MLS Next Pro this season. You're used to seeing the pipeline. Where is the pipeline now? Is everything okay? Do the folks at Providence and Swedish Delicatessen and 5 Minute Oil Change, are they concerned about the lack of results at Tacoma, or is it more focusing on getting them ready for Sounders and first team play? Where does this fit right now?
Yeah, look, every organization will tell you that they want their team to be successful, but the reality is that the Sounders don't necessarily think that's a priority. It's all about developing these young players. It's all about that pipeline. That pipeline's still there. There is plenty of future and upcoming players, both at center back, at center midfield. Maybe not as many on the attacking end, but the product for Tacoma Defiance is that alone, right? It's not about the results. They've clearly plugged some really big pieces out of that team. Osasa de Rosario being one of them, right? He was a guy that was outstanding with Tacoma. Not having him there has clearly affected the team. A guy like Schneider Brunel, you could see how much they miss him in that team, right? He was a guy that was the center feature of that operation, right? At one of the center midfields, one of the pivots for the team. There's also obviously been turnover in terms of the coaching staff, right? Coach H was let go because of a lot of things, situations in the locker room, difference of philosophies, if you will, and that goes into what the Seattle Sounders want to do. That is primarily just developing this team, regardless of results, and that could be tough for a head coach to say, "Hey, John, we want you to have this team, but if you lose, it's fine. Just get me this guy's ready to go."
Yeah.
But I do think that there is a pipeline there that is coming up, that is clearly being built to continue to sustain this roster so it works as well as it has been.
And so that was the question that was kind of trying to. I was curious because I was wondering if it was just focusing on getting everybody ready for first team, if it's results based. What are you trying to gauge? Where is the level of priority? What matters above what else, considering that we're chasing after playoff spots here in our footprint? And so I wanted to ask, considering that Tacoma was having an uncharacteristic year in the standings in MLS Next Pro, and that's why I wanted to ask that question. Seattle right now in fifth, 30 matches played. And it looks like this is going to be the street fight for the 5, 6, 7 right now with Seattle, Austin, and Portland. Austin came out this morning, and they have released that they have signed Brad Stuver to a 2-year contract extension, guaranteed through 27, option for 28. So Austin makes the first step in making sure that their defense is locked in place. Stuver staying for another 2. Seattle right now, you're 5 points behind LAFC. LAFC has matches in hand. What's the vibe right now, chasing Cascadia coming up this weekend and here in the stretch run for playoffs here in 2025?
Look, there's confidence in terms of what I've heard from Brian Smetzer. I think there's confidence in the group that they can correct the mistakes that have led to 3 unfortunate results, 3 results that are frustrating, and 2 consecutive losses, right? There's a common denominator in all 3 losses, and that is self-inflicted wounds. That is defensive woes. That is a team that has been unable to close games in the last couple of minutes, whether it's lack of defensive posture, right? Guys on the wrong side of the ball, a team that has made it an emphasis to be more of an attacking on the front foot, but you can also not be unable to understand that in the 87th minute of a game where you're winning 2-1, you shouldn't be looking for the 3-1. You should be trying to hold on to that lead as well. So there is a level of confidence that the mistakes that have happened on set pieces, on throw-ins, on transition moments, those can be fixed. But the team needs to understand that regardless of that confidence, you put yourself in a very bad position, because you had an opportunity to get home field advantage in the playoffs, or at least some home field advantage in the playoffs. You've dropped points after points after points. All of these 3 games, with maybe the exception of Miami, at Fort Lauderdale, you or I had in the winning column, right? You thought that you were going to be able to get those results. Now you've dropped those. And when you put yourself in a situation where you might have to face an LAFC or a San Diego in the first game of the playoffs, you're setting yourself up for a difficult situation where if you're eliminated in the first round, is this still a successful year for this team? I would think that it is, but I think very highly of Leagues Cup. The fan base doesn't. I think you still get a title. That is what it is. But nobody wants to see this Sounders teams go in there and get clapped by Sun and Buanga, or by Lozano and Dreyer, right? No one wants to see that. So this team has put himself in a difficult situation, because if you look at the rest of the games, the Portland game gets played different, right? It's a Clasico. you don't really know what you're going to get. Vancouver game this weekend, that's a difficult game. I think that there's a lot of things that Vancouver does that put Seattle in some predicaments. A lot of speed, a lot of transition moments, very direct. They could be a problem regardless of their midweek game. And then if you keep going on, the game at New York's not easy. It's not easy, regardless of what you might have seen with Inter Miami just yesterday. But I think that there's a lot of ways where this thing can go south for the Sounders, and they need to figure that out. But there is confidence. They did get back Pedro de la Vega back in training in full. There's still a lot of concerns about what it is that's going on with the tricky injury and the tendonitis. But you are getting Jordan Morris back, who did look good against Austin. I thought that his play has been very positive, finding the right spaces, being involved, showing us some of those Jordan-esque things that this Sounders attack has missed over a long period of time. But now you're also missing a guy like Obed Vargas, who has left with the U20 Mexican team. So there are ways to replace him, but you do lose a step, right? It's Schneider Burnell is a very good player, but he's still 18. He's still not over it. There is a lot of question marks in terms of that other pivot there that is such an important part for the Sounders team. So difficult road ahead, but the team feels like they can do it.
And the integration of the new faces in the Western Conference adds to the chaos in the run-in here, where Thomas Mueller has proved that he's right at home in Vancouver. He has stepped right in, and, happy birthday to you. And you see what he means to Vancouver. You see what Yeonmin Son means to LAFC, where it is now just insane to look at the offense that LAFC now is capable of with Sonny and Denny Bouanga up top. And that looks like that is already working its way into a great pairing. So that there are teams that you mentioned in the Western Conference that got to add pieces, and they're important pieces. They invested in themselves, and you're seeing in Vancouver and in LAFC the statements that they're trying to make heading into the postseason.
Absolutely. And you kind of saw it coming when it comes to LAFC. You just didn't expect that it was going to be as of a finished product, but it just seems like the more that Son and Bouanga play together, it just fits the way they go against the run of play, the way you can add and move a guy like La Perla Martinez, that midfield starting to solidify well. Defensively, they're able to manage things a lot easier. They're understanding what Cherundolo wants to do, and it is infectious. You mentioned Thomas Mueller. I think both of these guys, both Son and Mueller, what has surprised me is how energetic and influential they've been, not just on the ball, but just for the entirety of the team, right? So it is a difficult situation, and I will put San Diego up there too, right? They have been trending in the right direction. They are a team that's going to be difficult to play. I think, you look at Minnesota. Minnesota's also another team that in their own ways, in their own systematic success, it's going to be difficult if the Sounders are not playing to the best of their abilities. Now, I think there are things that are working out for Seattle. I think Jesus Ferreira is a guy that has been very good and continues to get better. And regardless of where you put him on the field, he is a guy that's cerebral, that can finish, that has showed you that he could set up other players, right? Look, that Austin game, 2 clear chances that were set up for Jordan Morris were by design, were by a guy like Ferreira with a little back heel, with a just understanding of where he's going to be. So, there are things that Seattle has been doing well offensively, but you got to finish. You cannot have all the volume, all the XG, all of this stuff, and not be able to finish. So that is going to be something that Seattle's going to have to prove against Vancouver. And this is a huge game. John, this is a huge game. This is the parameter. This is the way that you set the stage for the rest of that final stretch of games, right? You're at home. I don't care if it is Mueller, because we don't know if he's going to be ready or back or not. He has some injuries. We don't know where certain players are going to be there for this Vancouver team, but that is a very good midfield with Kubas and Bellhalter and Jaden Nelson, speed, and Sabi, and White's back. He came back and found back of the net immediately. So this is a good Vancouver team. Seattle needs to understand that this is where they shine, and they're going to have to be good at every sense of the play. Set pieces are going to be important, defensive shape, finishing, being on the front foot. Seattle has to be the protagonist this weekend.
You're a minus 102 with Seattle. Vancouver's a plus 242 on the road late night Saturday. 90-minute draws a plus 277.
Oof.
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's difficult.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Those are interesting numbers. That tells me that there is, different beliefs there. I happen to think that this could be a frustrating draw for Seattle. This could be one that might go that route. I saw a Vancouver team against the Timbers. I know it's midweek, but I don't know. They kind of wanted to absorb pressure, or they were maybe not as effective in possession. So they gave up a lot of opportunities for Portland to get there, but they were able to hold on. So could it be a similar game where there's a lot of options early on for the Sounders, and then in a little rub-a-dope action in the second half, Vancouver kind of gets back into that Portland game? I could see that being the case. So it'll be an interesting one, but it could be a draw. I believe in this Sounders team. I think that they definitely will be able to correct things. And they're playing with a little chip on their shoulder. They hear all the narratives. They know that everybody's expecting certain teams to win the West, and that could be good. But you got to show it on the field, John. You can't just play well and not be able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Draw, by the way, is a plus 277 in the composite. Vancouver.
Yeah, I like that.
Vancouver starting lineup last night. Takaoka in net, left to right. Johnson, Halbuni, Laborda, and Bovalina. The two in front of them, Sebastian Berhalter and Priso, Jaden Nelson, Cabrera, Sabi, and Illumi up top. And so Ryan Illumi was your point of the spear last night. That was the lineup that was put out by Jesper Sorensen last night. On the bench, it was Daniel Rios, who had a cup of coffee, Bomer Brian White, who came in, scored the goal, Ali Ahmed, Nelson Pierre, JC Ngando, who got minutes, Jivan Badwal, Mark O'Neill, and Nikola Djordjevic. So that was the lineup last night in the 1-1 draw, as it might have been a bit of a rope-a-dope, but you did get minutes and you got the 1 point, and you had to bring in Brian White to do it. A couple of games that I wanted to do cliffhanger with you, and one of them is intriguing. I'm looking more at the total than I am the number. San Diego FC, because you mentioned Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer, they are now back on their natural surface. They are now back on the grass at the Murph Dragon, taking on San Jose at a minus 145. San Jose is a plus 300, draws a plus 341. I wanted to look at the totals in this one because I was thinking that there might be goals. I'm just saying. 3.5 a minus 113. 4.5 is listed at a plus 196. I don't know if it gets there. They're thinking this one might be defensive at the Murph Dragon. I'm intrigued.
No, hey, look, I like the 4.5. Okay. I think San Diego and San Jose are both teams that are going to go all out. And San Jose, as much as we've seen struggles defensively, they always keep on pushing. I think Christian Arango has had some chances in front of goal that he wishes he would have back. If there's anything that's interesting about the San Jose team is that it's a fun Bruce Arena team to watch, and they do get forward very well. So yeah, I think that this is a game that could go above the 4.5. Obviously, San Diego is the clear favorite, not good enough for your numbers. Right. But if you wanted to bet on that total, I would go for that 4.5.
Okay. A couple of others that are kind of intriguing just for playoff positioning and such. Colorado, Minnesota. Colorado at home with the Rabid Prairie Dogs is a plus 122, hosting the Loons at a plus 188. RSL favored at home at a minus 120. Austin is a plus 290. Going to Rio Tinto. And then Sunday night soccer, Cincinnati and the Purple team. Cincinnati favored at home at a plus 127. Purple team a plus 177. Draws a plus 274. Anything stick out there?
Yeah. What's the Minnesota number?
Minnesota is a plus 188 heading to Commerce City, Colorado.
Yeah, I like Minnesota. I really do. I think that is one that is a clear clear win, in my opinion. I think that what Minnesota likes to do is going to really eliminate Colorado's uh, attacking channels. When it comes to defending in transition, especially, I think Colorado struggles as well. So I like Minnesota in that one. That one's interesting. I don't like the number, but it's definitely one that I like to add as a sure win, as a lock, in my opinion. The RSL Austin, I don't love, to be quite frank, but the Cincinnati Orlando, that's one that you kind of want to look at, right? Cincinnati has been on a tear, but this is the type of game that Orlando just sticks out of nowhere. And throw away the statistics, throw away form. This is one of those games that Poppy's Orlando City on a Sunday night football is just going to come out of nowhere and just blow up. To me, Orlando City, what was the number for Orlando? One?
Orlando, hang on, because I went to the numbers. And by the way, plus 3.5 is a plus 139. That's where it flips. So Orlando is a plus 177, draws a plus 274.
Ooh, okay. No. Hey, look, I like Orlando City, but I like that 3.5 better.
Okay.
I like the 3.5. I mean, call me crazy, but I think Orlando City and the 3.5 is a very possible outcome. And look, Cincinnati, as good as they are offensively and as good as on paper they are defensively, it's been a couple of times this season where you kind of try to figure out where is that talent, where is all that money being spent at, because they do have some issues back there at times. So for me, this is going to be a good one. A lot of vibes. I think there's going to be some goals. So, yeah, give me Orlando City, and we'll see how that plays out.
All right, what's going on with Sounder at Heart and Pulso Sports as you head toward the Providence and Swedish 5-minute oil change and smoothie land?
Oh, yeah. If you want to hear what Brian Spencer had to say, Jesus Ferreira had to say yesterday, go ahead and check that out. We will have an episode of the Coach's Corner, maybe with Tommy, considering the goalkeeper controversy. So maybe we'll talk to Tom Dutra about how that works into his job and how difficult it is, or how easy it is to have two guys that cheer each other on, but they're obviously competing for the same position. So that's going to be interesting. You probably found that at Sounder at Heart first, then at Pulso Sports YouTube. And then everything that happens during the week, of course. Friday, we're going to record probably with Tim Foss as well, and Jeremiah Chan, of course. What we learned this week, breaking down the week that has been for training. And then, of course, on Monday, Love and Scorchers with Ari Lillenwall.
As always, my friend, great to see you. Wait, who does Washington State play this weekend? Do we know?
I'm not really sure.
In the American football? Hang on just a second. So, let's see.
I just bought tickets to the Utah game because it happens to be family week. So I'm going to be going there in a couple of weeks, I want to say, mid-October.
All right, so let's see. Let me check. Do we have anything in the pack? How do we list? Okay, so right now Washington State is 2-2, and the games that they have won pretty tightly. Well, they beat Idaho, they beat San Diego State. Then they got hammered by North Texas, and they got hammered in the Apple Cup, giving up 59 in back-to-back weeks. And now they go to Fort Collins to take on Colorado State. That one is a 7:30 Eastern kick, so 5:30 local time in Fort Collins, Washington State and Colorado State. As 2-2, Washington State goes to take on Colorado State this weekend. So,
defense is the problem, and that Husky game got out of hand in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was a tied game, and then in the fourth quarter they gave up 28 unanswered points. So, that is. Let us sit with you. That was a tough fourth quarter for the Cougs.
As always, my friend, great to see you. And we will catch up with you next week at this time, and we will discuss things. That's the official term. Good to see you, my friend. Be well.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. There goes Niko Moreno, Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. And so that's our look at everything out west. So here's the rundown for tomorrow. Oh, by the way, the mascots have been released for the 2026 Cup, where the entire world is trying to chase after and win it in the year 2026. So the mascots have been released. Here's the rundown, and there are pictures. FIFA has confirmed that Clutch, Zayu, and Maple are the mascots for the 26 competition. A bald eagle, a jaguar, and a moose. Clutch, and the pictures are available over at The Athletic. Clutch is dressed in the U.S. men's national team blue away kit. The bald eagle is recognizable for its place at the center of the Great Seal since 1782. An act of Congress signed by President Joe Biden in 24 made the bald eagle the official national bird. And he's looking pretty strong, and he's looking pretty happy. Maple the moose represents Canada and is dressed in the country's red home kit. The mascot also draws inspiration from Canada's maple leaf, which is the country's national symbol. And Maple, I believe Maple has it looks like Maple is in a keeper kit because Maple looks like, I guess Maple's a she, is got the goalie gloves on and has the hair tie. Zayu the jaguar represents Mexico and is dressed in the nation's green home strip. Ancient civilizations of Mexico, such as the Mayans, bestowed huge significance upon the jaguar, linking it to the underworld and symbolizing strength and bravery. Adam Crafton with the story over at The Athletic. Zayu looks like he's ready to take on the planet. Maple looks like she is ready to save a PK at a moment's notice, or already has, and is just kind of posing because job well done. And Clutch is ready to score from a banger from about 30. So that's Adam Crafton on the run with those three. And it was those pictures are out. Those drawings are out. And so now we know what the three mascots are: a bald eagle, a moose, and a jaguar. Clutch, Maple, and Zayu. That's what you're staring at with the new mascots here in 2026. So that is the rundown there. And so Catalucci, FIFA could have done a wild turkey to honor Benjamin Franklin. True. Jaguar, very good pick for Mexico. And a moose. Moose is, and this is an athletic-looking moose, by the way. This is not just, moose like the moose head lager moose. No, this is an athletically toned and finely produced machine. Maple the moose for the Canada national team for the cup that the entire world is chasing after in 2026. So here's tomorrow. Tomorrow is tape from our friends at the USASA. We will have guests, and we'll find out what it's like to be inducted into a Hall of Fame. We're catching up with Karen Byer tonight, who is big in the amateur scene here, in the adult scene here in the state of Georgia, and we'll try and track down Andy Marion as well. Then we will have Mark Followell joining us at 10 o'clock. We were catching up with Brad Feldman here in just a little bit for opposition research. That will be run tomorrow as well. We've got a lot of stuff to get into. Jason Stevens is available for us, and hopefully catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring, whether it is Mr. Parkhurst or Mr. Garza. So as always, it's great to catch up with all of you here on a Thursday. Thanks to Nino. Thanks to Niko. Thanks to the twos and all the chaos that was attached. If you see Maddie and Jason, it might be a little groggy, understandably so. I don't think I fell asleep till about 2:30. But we're back here in the morning to discuss everything going on involving the world of soccer. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us as well on the Twitch pitch as we continue to rock and roll every single day. So for everyone that is here at SDH, thanks for hanging out with all of us, and thanks for being a part, having us a part of your day every single day, Monday through Friday from 9:05 until 11, whenever. So for everybody here, to all of you there, thanks for dropping by. SDH AM on a Friday joins you in a little less than 22 hours. And since it is the end of the show today, which ATLUTD2, play it safe. I get to do this. We'll see you tomorrow.